Very pleased now to be joined here at SB Nation by the uniquely talented, the internationally famous, set to take over the role of James Bond the next time that film graces the silver screen. It is CMO for U.S. Bank, Michael Lacorazza. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to join us at SB Nation.
Thanks for having me.
I was very, very nervous about your last name. As somebody who has a last name that people mispronounce a lot, actually, people also get RJ wrong a lot. I was very insecure about it. So I want to say that now so that you and I can, authentically be on the same page with one another.
Yeah, and you nailed it on the first try. So you were spot
on. It's good to hear. You all I'm a big fan of U.S. Bank, to be clear. I know that's a weird thing to say about a bank. I was telling Collin Morikawa that I cover the Dallas Cowboys, and in covering the Cowboys, I cover the NFL. And if I had to rank the stadiums in the NFL, I know this is not necessarily a U.S. Bank thing, but I would put U.S. Bank Stadium at the absolute very top. And I associate U.S. Bank to be world-class. Like, that was my introduction to it. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not.
I love that, and we're super proud of that relationship, and got to be a part of like the whole. This predated my arrival to the company 2 years ago, is when I joined. But our team was very involved in the community and bringing that stadium to life. So it's kind of like our signature thing, and we're super proud of how that's turned out. And when you attend games there, it is a special place for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would imagine the purpose behind a partnership like that is to rope the mouth breathers like me, right? To get the guy who's just like, oh, cool, awesome, bright, shiny stadium. Now I love U.S. Bank forever, but it kind of worked. And so in that respect, there is an incredible disposition behind U.S. Bank in terms of how you all operate beyond your, I hate to call it normal functioning day-to-day, activities, but getting involved in entertainment space. That's obviously the world of sports. And now you're obviously involved with Happy Gilmore too, involved with Collin Morikawa. How does something like that happen? Like, what is that meeting like when someone says, hey boss, I've got this idea?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we're deeply involved in sports across pretty broad spectrum of professional sports. And golf's no exception, right? We've been involved with the game of golf for quite a long time, and have Collin Morikawa as our brand ambassador, who's just fantastic. And so, I guess the way it came to life was we heard from multiple sources that this film was being produced, like the reboot of Happy Gilmore, which got me excited immediately because I'm just a huge fan of the original. And that they were looking for a potential partner sponsor to be the title sponsor of the Tour Championship inside the film. And by the way, your brand ambassador, Collin Morikawa, is going to be part of the film. So they kind of had us at hello, and then we just started to get in and have the conversation. How would our brand be positioned and so forth? And we made a decision like within a matter of probably less than 2 weeks. It was kind of knowing about it to making a decision right away. And then the work began to collaborate for how the brand would show up inside the film, because they were very close to starting production by the time we made the decision to be involved.
That is super cool. I obviously haven't seen the movie yet. For people watching this, we're talking a few days before it drops on Netflix. But that kind of stuff has staying power, like the name, the fictional Super Bowl or whatever. Like, so to be the Tour Championship sponsor, like when people watch this movie in 20, 25 years, like that will stick. I mean, that's a really smart and clever way to do this.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that was part of our calculus, that we said, okay, not only will we be part of this cultural moment, this phenomenon that's happening with this distribution of this film on, the largest streaming platform on the planet, it's going to live on generation after generation after generation.
Yeah. And I think it also, I spoke to Collin about a lot of fortuitous things happening in his life. It's also very fortuitous for you all that we just so happen to have Collin Morikawa. Like, I know y'all are making this this movie about a professional golfer, and you want to use us as a sponsor, but like, if you need him, here's Collin Morikawa, and he happens to be this funny guy like that. I mean, the harmonious nature of it is really, again, fortunate for you all.
Yeah, sometimes in life it's just timing. Things come together. Sometimes things beyond your control make it possible, and you just have to acknowledge that. It's not like we just planned this out. It just kind of happened.
So when you begin this process and you get all into it, I'm curious. You know you're getting involved with Adam Sandler and Happy Madison, and again for anyone who was alive in the '90s, like it holds a place near and dear to your heart. So throughout this process, what's been the part that you, because you I'm surely anticipated, okay, I'm going to see some weird stuff, like some really cool weird stuff. But was there anything that happened that you're like, wow, I thought we would hit fifth gear, but they added an Oz boost to my expectation in this sense.
Well, no, I would say like whenever you're going to, as a brand, get involved in any type of entertainment integration, and you're not the final controller of the output, right?
Right.
Somebody else is. You're taking, there is some like potential risk that's out there. But when we saw what was done in the original film, and we knew like, hey, there's going to be some goofy humor, there's going to be some things that are over the top, right? But nothing like largely kind of inappropriate or that we wouldn't necessarily, or that we thought would hurt our brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the second, we trusted the Netflix team and the Happy Madison team that they would present our brand in the most kind of favorable professional light in the context of the film, which they did in spades.
That's awesome. And again, I would imagine it's kind of scary to hand over the keys to a worldwide brand, and to be like, hey, just we're going to trust you here. Hopefully you don't do anything too crude. The commercial that features Collin isn't crude in any way. It's fantastic and really funny. It really works in perfect theme with the film, as I imagine, obviously, but just the overall vibe of what this is. But Vern Lundquist is in it. Like that's also an amazing kind of, I really, Michael, can't tell you enough, like how dripping this all is in '90s and sports and Adam Sandler nostalgia.
It's a huge coup. It's a huge coup for us. And when we made the decision to be involved with the film, we did it with the calculus that we were going to produce content, advertising, promotional material in support of the film and in support of our role in the film. So we had kind of set aside a plan for that. But when we went into it, honestly, we didn't anticipate that we'd be working with Happy Madison Productions to do it. But as we got to know them on set, a relationship formed. And then we all just kind of came together and said, hey, well, what if we were to collaborate to do this, as a team? And then to bring in, Frank Caracci, who has directed multiple Adam Sandler films, has known him since the beginning, right? Since college, enabled us to kind of have Happy Madison, Happy Gilmore, the vibe of it be true to the spirit of their brand, right? And then to also be able to weave in our experience and the points that we were trying to make in the work, and to weave in Collin and to bring out his comedic performance in a way that was really unexpected, made it super cool. And I think if we hadn't had Happy Madison Productions producing the film and having Frank directing it and so forth, it might not have been as easy to get Vern Lundquist and access to the IP product in a way. But because we were collaborating with it, everybody had skin in the game to make it successful.
Yeah, the IP product, talking about the big check in the commercial and the Collin riding the golf club. Like again, it all sings well together with the purpose that this obviously serves. I think that is just really the coolest thing. Again, as a child of the '90s, like this is right up my alley as an avid golf, just a big time fan. Like involving all these people is really cool. And I think really adds a personality to your. I hate again to call it your brand. Like, you've got a random TikTok creator. They have a brand. You all don't have a brand. Like you all have a mecca. Like, and so it must be interesting to see that, in a third dimension after you plan it and you sketch it, and to see, especially now as we're so close to the film's release and all these things happening, it must, be awesome. Kind of like I would imagine a parent. My son is only 3.5. But watching a kid graduate from college, like something like that, there has to be that payoff for you that you're experiencing internally.
Absolutely. And it's the anticipation of this film is just unbelievable.
Right.
People have been waiting for this for quite some time, and it's taking on a life of its own. And the narrative of our collaboration is unique. And so people are talking about it. It's buzzing. But, one of the coolest things about it is how much buzz it's creating inside of our company. So we have a little contest going right now on internet where people can post their spirit things about Happy Gilmore. Or maybe it's a video of them doing the swing or
right.
hosting a watch party. And we've already got, like thousands of posts inside the company because it's energizing our own team to, the excitement of being part of this moment.
That is, I mean, just what a, I don't know how it could have gone better. Like, because you've now boosted your credential or credibility, whatever, in a way that you could have never planned to the point at hand. You've boosted internal morale. Everybody's happy. You are, bumping elbows with Adam Sandler and Vern Lundquist. I mean,
Yeah.
this has to, when you take this role a couple of years ago, as you mentioned, this has to be beyond, obviously you have big dreams and big ambitions for what you're going to accomplish, but this has to be beyond anything that you can conceive at that moment in time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely one of those pinnacle moments that you'll always remember.
Very, very, very cool. My last one then, I'm way more excited about this, and I hope that that's the effect that this has had. Because you're right, sometimes brands are shoehorned into something, and we all get it. Everybody's got to make money and whatnot, but it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't sing. And so this is really great in that it does, and it makes you appreciate everything more. So as somebody who's been involved from step one of this entire thing, what was the best part of the ride?
Wow, that's a great question. The best part of the ride was developing the relationships with the team on the ground in the film and the collaboration, and how that led to new ideas that we hadn't even considered on our own. And it just shows just how important the people are in the process, and how important the creators are in the process, because it just, all of a sudden ideas start to pop, things start to happen serendipitously. Like, when they were originally producing the commercial, Collin didn't anticipate that he was going to be doing the bull dance, right? But at some point when they were on set, someone said, "Hey, why don't you try the bull dance?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay." So, and it's like, "Why don't you turn your hat backwards? Why don't you give it a little scream?" And all of a sudden, like, you've got this like incredible moment coming together that was not planned. So I guess it's the serendipitous nature of creativity and the power of it.
Those are the best stories. Like you hear, when they were making Back to the Future, somebody was like, well, what if it was 88 miles an hour instead of like 80 flat or something, right? Like something that just has this staying power that somebody said innocuously, the serendipitous nature. That's a great outlook on life. I really appreciate that. And I'll apply it to my own. Michael Lacorazza, I'm so excited for this movie. I'm loving the commercial, what you all are doing. Keep on going. I mean, I don't know that is even advice. You all seem really good and seem to have high points of leadership and creative people involved. So thank you for the opportunity to kind of pick your brain a little bit on this.